but I don't see the plane. What the hell is my problem with taking the blame? 'Cause I play with my food and then someone else takes it away. It's so hard to believe, but I'm trying to change.
What up, y'all? Grab yourself your favorite drink. Some Doritos.
In the sand, but I don't see who made them. I still listen to that band that you showed me last April. I still play with my food. I'm a child at the grown-ups table. It's so hard to believe, but right now I feel stable. I moved away and I grew a few inches. What a shame, I had a chance and I missed it.
What up, y'all?
And there are some days when I hear that song and I hate to admit it.
What up, y'all? What up, y'all? What's going on? I don't know. I just typed in chemtrails. That's the song that came up. So what up, y'all? What's going on? All right, put your kid to bed. Put your kid to bed. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? Just a little impromptu live tonight, brought to you by Happy Dad, of course. Tonight we're going with the spicy nacho Doritos. Oh, cool, bro. What up, y'all? Hey, I just jumping in live. You know, we'll see. Maybe some people will come in. Maybe they won't. It's impromptu. It's last minute. But I just wanted to talk about chemtrails, y'all. What is going on in the skies? How long have you guys been looking up in the skies? For me, to be honest, not really that long. Maybe a couple months. That's how long I've been looking up. And it's kind of crazy because I look back on it and I'm like, wow. And all these things come through my head, right? One of them is like, we see everything here. Most people see everything here and below. We look down on the ground all the time. We're looking at our eye level. Like our whole lives are you know, right here and below. And throughout the whole last couple of years, we'll see a few more people come on. Throughout the last couple of years, it's like, wow, no, I don't know how many people were looking up. You know, I'm not trying to say I'm awoke to everything that's going on. Obviously, there's all kinds of shit that we don't know about that's going on. But it's like, wow, I feel really stupid for not looking up earlier. And it's kind of crazy because what I've known about it in the past is pretty much it's been denial, right? I know I've heard a little bit about HAARP, which is, you know, the military, I guess, version of weather manipulation that they've used. It's on record that they've used that. But as far as like chemtrails, I think that word comes with a negative connotation, I guess, in a sense. If you guys want to call in, you got something to share on chemtrails, cam up. If you know anything about it, I want to learn. That's partly why I'm having this. Most of the reason why. I want to learn more about what chemtrails are. But so again, if you want to add anything, just feel free to jump in or you know, jump in the comments and let's get a discussion going. But it's crazy because chemtrails, you know, that could mean a lot of different things to a lot of people, I think. Like one of them could be, oh, they're spraying chemicals on you, right? Like as if they're spraying pesticides on you, right? A lot of people say that kind of type thing, and it's kind of a good analogy in a sense, I think. But I think it's negative in a sense too, where it steers people right away. It's like, come on, really? You think they're just spraying bad stuff on you? So, but the more you dig into it, it's like, okay, first they were denying that they were doing it at all. And then now I came across some stuff that they call basically cloud seeding, right? Which it's like, okay. And then you hear about cloud seeding. And basically, as I've seen, and again, I'm not an expert. That's why I want people to come on. If you guys know anything about any of this, jump in on here, jump on cam up, jump in the question box, make your comments there. I'm gonna try to pay attention to those. But basically, they have admitted now. This is not a secret. This is out there for all of you guys to go look at right now if you want to get out, or afterwards. Write this down. Don't forget. Whatever you guys got to do. I never understood how waitresses could take an order and not write shit down. But anyways. that's a whole nother discussion for another day. Being somebody who's a picky eater and getting your order wrong a lot of times, and then somebody doesn't write it down and then you get it wrong, it's like, come on, man. But anyways, it's a fact that they admit to cloud seeding, right? So then you have to get into discussion. And again, I don't know, I'm not an expert on it. Anybody knows about cloud seeding? Let's talk about that. But I did watch a few videos. One of them was an interview of a pilot who actually does cloud seeding. And it's on YouTube, so you can go catch it right there. Like everything that's going on, for the most part, from what is blatantly right in front of your faces, you guys. They're not hiding anything that they're doing. They might hide behind how they word things and how they present things, and you know, just because they're not talking about it doesn't mean they're lying about it and shit like that. But with COVID, it's all right in front of your face. It's just a matter of whether or not you're getting the information, or you know, or you can get the information out to people. But anyways, back to chemtrails. They're spraying chemicals in order to seed the clouds, right? So it's like, that's, to me, okay, that's the way I look at these chemtrails, is because they're admitting that they actually do cloud seeding, right? So cloud seeding is supposedly when there's a storm coming in, they go and they put silver iodine, they drop silver iodine, which supposedly helps like give more precipitation. So if there's a storm coming in, this is how it was explained by this pilot that goes up and does this shit. And yes, they're rigged on the back of their plane to drop this shit out. And the guy, I wish I could play it, but I don't have that, you know, technology right now, y'all, to play a video while we're on here. I don't know how to do that shit. I could show a picture, but I can't play a video. But anyways, it's on YouTube. If you want this link, I can get it to you later, but you can pretty much find it. Just look up cloud seeding, and this interview was from a news or somebody interviewing this pilot that does it. He's like, basically the the people doing the weather, whatever you call them, they're like, they'll call it in. We're basically on call. And they call it in and they say, all right, now go ahead and head up. And they head to these, you know, coordinates or whatever. And that's supposed to be where the best place is to drop these seeds into the clouds to basically make more precipitation, right? So if it's supposed to be raining, then more rain. If it's supposed to be snowing, then more snow, right? And for you could say for obvious reasons, because of global warming, right? And there's a lot of droughts and things like that. When they get the opportunity, this is all, again, just how I understand it, you guys, then they want to go seed these clouds to get more precipitation or more snow or whatever, right? So this is all a fact. You can go look this up on your own. And they admit it's silver iodine, or at least this particular, pilot that was doing it. That's what they were using. Again, what are they using? How come we don't know all of this? How come I'm sitting here having this live and there's still probably a lot of people in here who might know about it, but there's still a lot of unknowns? Why is there unknowns when no matter what place in the world you're in, you look up, you see these lines in the skies? And so I just, before I came on here, I did a few screenshots of this stuff. I just went to hashtag chemtrails, and right there, I just, looked at some of the most recent posts. You're talking about Australia, Spain, Canada, all the states. There's people. Again, if you guys want to join the live, just hit the camera button. We'll try to get a few people in here. This is just about a discussion. I want to learn more. Hopefully you guys want to learn more about chemtrails. So real quick before I bring some people on, just kind of want to finish my thought. But so they admit to seeding clouds, right? So that's not disputable as far as I'm concerned, although I have a lot of questions about cloud seeding. So again, if you know anything about cloud seeding, come on please and help us learn more about that. But the pilot said silver iodine. Another thing I took from the interview was they say that by the time it hits the ground, it's not harmful enough for you, right? It's not going to harm you, right? Okay, but where are these studies at, right? Why is this not transparent? What's in this stuff? And then how many times are they allowed to do this? Because you see some of these guys and there's lines going this way, there's lines going this way, this way, this way. I mean, it's all over the sky. I see mostly it's in front of the sun, but I think that, so there's cloud seeding, right? But I live in Southern California. A lot of other places, people might live in places that are sunny or a little bit warmer. And even on a sunny day, even when there's no rain or no snow, there's no snow really where I live, but no, severe weather in the forecast, it's perfectly clear skies. They'll be out early in the morning seeding the clouds that aren't there. I mean, what are they doing? That's what I have. That's what I have a question for. Is because yes, like I somebody sent me some pictures today, and it was right before a storm coming in, right? So you could say, okay, they're seeding the clouds. And that's a whole nother discussion, because I question if they have the ability to create more precipitation, wouldn't the alternate be possible also, where they could maybe reduce precipitation or create more heat, right? And then there's a whole nother, I'm just kind of giving you guys like what I've heard. So again, if you want to cam up and talk about this, you have an experience, you see it in your area or whatever it is, or you just want to say hello, just, whatever, cam up. But I would prefer to keep it on this subject and this subject alone of chemtrails or cloud seeding or whatever. But what are they seeding when nothing's up there, right? And then the guy said that it's paid for by the counties. And then I've heard other people say that they can actually isolate these cloud seeding to certain cities or counties, basically, right? So the way I interpret that basically is, if your county or your city's contributing to this cloud seeding, or you're purchasing it, or even private businesses can do this, right? Farmers, whatever, like, then they can isolate it to a certain area. Again, what about the converse? Can they isolate things to a certain area? So recently there was stuff going on in Australia, and I tried to get the guy to come on the show, but he had a long weekend, but I might have him on in the future. His name is Jacko86, I want to say, or something like that, but he knows a lot about this, and he was talking about a big major storm in Australia, and this is all I'm not saying this is facts, guys. You got to do your own research here on all of this stuff, okay? This is just meant to have a discussion, because one, it's indisputable that they're cloud seeding, right? But basically in Australia, there was a huge storms in this certain area, and it's just a coincidence, or whatever you want to call it, conspiracy or whatever, I don't care, that these were areas that were of low vaccination rates, okay? I'm not going down that area, but basically I'm just getting into the targeted use of what they already admit they can basically do, okay? Which is creating more weather, right? So again, let's not even talk about the reverse side of it quite yet. But if they have the ability to, okay, so what are they doing when there's no clouds? Are they creating storms? If they have the ability to create storms and they have the ability to create more precipitation when there is storms, then can't we just combat global warming altogether? So, and then the alternate. So I've also heard people say that the chemicals that they're spraying down they obviously make their way to the ground. That's not disputable, right? I question how much of it before it becomes toxic for people or plants or soil or skin or anything. Why is there no transparency, right? But people say, I heard this, I don't know, on what, live or whatever. And so again, if you know something about this, that it's drying out the trees, basically. And then you start thinking about fires, right? And basically it's a chemical. So is it making things more flammable? I've heard that. Plus, drying them out in a sense. So creating more of a possibility for big out of control fires, which lately in the last several years, we've seen several big fires. My mom lives in Oregon, and places covered in green, and they have wind every year, but for whatever reason, they had major fires, right? And I'm not trying to go down that conspiracy road. I'm just saying, what is in this stuff that they're admitting they drop, okay? And are they even admitting, yeah, all the fires in California, but fires are happening also in areas that aren't notorious for having fires, right? And then there's weird weather happening, right? So I'm trying to joggle my memory, because it's kind of like, blurred out from all the COVID shit in the last couple of years. But you guys, if you don't know, and if you wouldn't mind in the comments, wasn't there a major snowstorm in Texas somewhere that never gets snow? With like 2 years ago, and then at the same time, all the electricity went out, but they said it wasn't because of the snowstorm, it was because of a hack, right, on the electrical grid. You guys remember, am I recalling this correctly? I don't know. It was all in the same place in Texas, right? They were out of power and they were buried in snow, and it was like, what the hell's going on? And then it ended up being Russia, probably, right? If I'm not mistaken. But if not even that, do you guys think about how much they want to hit the electrical grid, right? So all of this global warming to me is all about electrical vehicles, is all about scaring you that and this is what's been, I'm 41, so they've scared over the last 20 years, like just on the surface level things, is what if they hit the electrical grid and knock out all the power and your lights are out, and think about that, right? Like it's crazy what could happen if all the lights went out. And that's what it's kind of funny because it's like, that's their propaganda. Then that's not really, why are they doing that? Oh, I see now. It's all making sense. The global smart grid, Agenda 2030, right? Getting everybody onto, you guys, if they can't get us our vehicles and they can't get us trackable, then they can't implement what they want to implement. But that's not what I'm here for today. Back to the chemtrails, So I just started looking up a couple months ago, and it's insane. It's absolutely insane. So all I'm here to do today, and I'm gonna bring a couple people on right now, is to discuss what the hell's going on, y'all. What are they spraying on us? Why don't we know about this? This is worldwide. Is this COVID-19? Hey, there's people that I saw that post this shit, and they go, every time they post this, I can't breathe. These are people with asthma and like allergy. They draw a direct correlation to when they do these things in the sky and their ability to breathe. And one of the symptoms of COVID-19, at the beginning at least, I don't know, it seems to change all the time. The main symptom was this big respiratory illness. It was causing breathing problems, right? You got to get put on a ventilator. So I don't know, whatever they're spraying up there, is that causing respiratory problems for people, y'all? Call in. Let's go. Let's see what you guys got to say about this. I don't know what that is, but hold on, man. Let me bring somebody else on. We'll get a little, if he's still in here, we'll get a little thing going on. What's going on, brother? Where are you from?
From New York.
Cheers, my man. Cheers. So, yeah, if you don't mind, just kind of, I don't know what you want to share, but just share your story or whatever you know, man.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, they've started spraying chemtrails like pretty much in the beginning of 21. I mean, obviously they've been spraying a lot longer, but I've started to notice a lot more. And I'm a pretty healthy guy. Like, I'm a health nut. I don't really get sick or anything. I don't get allergies. All of a sudden, my kid, everyone, we started to have like allergy-like reactions every time we would be around chemtrails in my area. And every time I would go to like Coney Island, which is like the beach in Brooklyn, or even outside the city, Long Island, Montauk, where the sky is clear, nothing's happening, I would feel the difference. So I started to kind of experiment with that. Every time I was around and away, I noticed the difference. And so, I mean, yeah, they've been spraying constantly. I would probably see maybe 5 to 8 airplanes at the same time around my area. And that's all you see, chemtrails. But I never.
What do you think? What do you think they're doing, and why?
Well, I mean, there are different reasons. Obviously, one of them, there was a lady I found a video online. She's like a whistleblower from Air Force. She was in military up until I think 2011 or something. And she was at this conference speaking out about what she discovered. I'm probably going to send you a video or the link if I'll find it. But she was pretty much talking about everything that they've been doing. And they've been pretty much poisoning us.
Okay.
Some of it, they talk about the nanoparticles, which is something obviously used in the jabs as well. With everything else.
So okay, so that's one theory, right? And I think, do you think that's a byproduct, or do you think that's their intention? And then I'll toss it back to you, and then we're going to toss it over to him real quick.
Yeah.
So is that a byproduct, or is that their intention? And then do you think they're doing it to change weather? And then shit, I lost what else I was going to say. So go ahead. Like, I mean, or do you think they're doing it to block the sun?
I honestly think it's their intention, and I think it's coming from different places. I think like the whole thing with Bill Gates and his goal to block the sun, to protect us, in a sense. Then another thing, weather manipulation, which, everything that they've been doing. Same thing like with the HARP. Everything that's happening in Australia. I don't know if you follow Jason Shurka.
I do, but I don't, when you follow over like a certain number of people, it's like you may not see their feed.
But he's been talking about all of that stuff for a while. And one of his videos that he's doing, the disclosure, which is the third video, is gonna come out on the 26th. And so they pretty much, with the guy, this anonymous guy called Ray, they go into all of those things, the experiments, the weather manipulation, so-called natural disasters. So I think it's just pretty much to poison us from every angle, from water, fluoride, to dumb us down, to make us sick. I mean, the list goes on. But one thing, like I said about that lady, the former military person, she pretty much discovered in the system everything that she was supplying, like the chemicals that they were using for specific things. She noticed that something was off when she was approving things, and she started to question, why are they actually using this and that to spray, like industrial stuff? And so she started digging any further, and when she she canceled one of the orders. She didn't let one of the orders in, and so the person in charge came and, like you probably having a lot of delays. I guess you're busy. You probably missed out on an order or something. And she's like, no, I canceled it. So when she started to question more, they came to her and pretty much give her like a warning. It's like, hey, you look like you're really stressed. You look like you might be depressed. Are you sure you're okay? Because if anything, we can discharge you and place you into like a 60-day something evaluation. So pretty much it was like a threat. Like, if you don't stop, we'll make you.
Right.
And so she's been speaking out ever since then. What she mentioned, they're pretty much doing chemicals, poisoning us, nanoparticles, all kinds of stuff.
Wow.
But yeah,
okay.
Sorry for talking for a while.
Well, let's toss the ball over here. Is your name Mark, by the way? Was your name Mark?
Yeah.
Mark? All right, cool. And I'm sorry, if you don't mind, because we all have crazy handles. My name's Jason, by the way, everybody. If you could just start by just saying your name, just so I know how, so we can pass the ball back and forth. If you want to hang on, bro, you're more than welcome. Again, this is just a discussion. You're welcome to drop off if you need to bounce out too, but I want to pass it over here to the other brother here.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, go ahead, man. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, brother? So I'm out here in Arizona. I don't know if you ever see the things that I do. So I work with politicians out here, and again, I'm not all talk. There's a lot of people that say a lot of things, and I'm the type of person to ask everybody, so that's including people that are watching your stuff, go and investigate this stuff on your own, right? So I'm in Arizona, and I believe you guys you said you're in Southern California, right?
Yes, sir.
So you guys get a tail end a little bit of the monsoon season, don't you?
Not too much. We don't really get the hot rain. No, we don't really get the hot rain. If that's what you mean, and when? No.
Gotcha. Yeah. So check this out, man. So the monsoon season whips around from the Gulf of Mexico, and it always just like barely tips Arizona. Sometimes, we could see it, hit California and some of the other states. Last summer, man, we had rain that, again, it comes from the south. It comes southeast, south from through Mexico, Gulf of Mexico, hits Arizona. And randomly, people would actually say this, and I actually took note of this, that a lot of people were saying that they would randomly see clouds being created. I'm a godly man, and I believe in things, but there are stuff that we have to be aware of. They would say that they will see clouds being created and forming in the desert. So either it's a biblical thing or it's a man-made thing. And this rain was literally traveling from north down south. And that's really, 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 really odd. And here in Arizona, even if it's like 70 degrees, where I'm at in the valley, I'm towards Phoenix, the greater Phoenix area. If you leave anything, a drink inside your car, it'll get hot really fast. And during the monsoon season, I've noticed that I had some drinks during when it was raining. It never rains during the day, and it was raining throughout the day. And like I said, the clouds of monsoon storms come from south and go up north. These storms were coming from north going south, and every time I would have a drink inside my car, it will remain cold. And I've asked some of my siblings. Obviously, you don't want to throw stuff out there. Like I said, I work with politicians, so I'm pretty sure I'm already radared on a lot of things that I share. And I don't want to freak out people, but it makes you think, right? It makes you wonder. Like right now, I looked outside. I'm parked outside at a Walmart, and you do see those chemtrails. You see those trails everywhere, and like you said, they're zigzag, backwards, upside down, and you wonder. I mean, here in Arizona, we have a lot of military here, and also we have I think one of the greater base areas in the state of Arizona in the United States. But it makes you think, like, why is the growth of our population growing big if the water is a big thing? Arizona is getting hit. We got, I think 8 or 9 major forests here in Arizona, and we're also losing water. But the population, the houses ain't decreasing; they're increasing. If they really do care about the water, why they're allowing so many people to flood Arizona? Do they know something like we don't know? Are they allowing some of this stuff to happen for so-called rain to show up? Like I said, I believe in miracles. I believe in the God of the Bible, but what is artificial and what is from God?
Yeah.
And that's the thing I wanted to share with you, bro. Like, I'm not too far from you. I'm in Arizona. It only takes like 4 or 5 hours to get to probably where you're at from where
Yep.
I'm at.
Yep.
And it's crazy because it affects everybody else. And you don't have to be, that's where I would use this quote. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out there's a lot of crazy crap going on. And I pay attention to some of the other opponents and politicians on both sides to actually hear, hey, if this is a sincere thing, how is this happening? We're in one of the hottest places to be living in a valley, but why is there over 7 million people in this state? Why is there so many people here? But again, they're talking about the water, but my biggest thing was the water that was coming from north going down south. That was something a lot of people were talking about. People were freaking out because again, we were enjoying it because we get 120 degrees here in the valley, and it's super hot. But I'm just like, man, I wonder if other people acknowledge that in other states. Is that happening just in our state? Like,
So
what the hell is going?
So actually, believe it or not, as soon as you started saying that, I don't know if it's Abu Dhabi or Saudi Arabia, and pardon my ignorance, I don't know if that's the same fucking place, but they create rainstorms over there to combat the heat. Like, it's on record. It's on record, okay? So the government's on record of doing it, and actually, I've heard this. I haven't done my own research, so do your own research, but I have heard they used it in a past war, okay, to create floods in the Philippines, I think it was. In order, but that's a fact. That's out there. Weather cloud seeding, I'm sorry, is a fact. Okay. And yes, they're doing exactly what you're talking about in Abu Dhabi. So, but so weather manipulation is a thing. And so then if it is a thing, then can we use it to combat global warming that they're saying, I mean, if you're able to create rain and combat, because here's something nobody's really talked about yet. And I think, and somebody else wants to jump on, so I'm going to bring them on in a minute, but, I'm going to let you go ahead and finish. And then again, if you want to stay on, go ahead and stay on and we'll bring on the other guy. We still got room for another guy, but, is nobody's really here talking yet, at least we mentioned it a little bit, but about blocking the sun. Okay, so we're talking about weather and all of that, but here in Southern California, and just something for everybody, I'm just observing still, but what I observe a lot is they do this when there is no clouds or there is no storms coming in, and they seem to be chasing the sun, and there seems to be a white haze that's basically blocking the sun. And so I don't know if you guys have anything to add to that, or if anybody in the again in the live wants to jump on and add anything to that. Just another angle. And then also, if they are cloud seeding, which is a fact, what's in this stuff? And is this stuff healthy for us, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and pass just a few things to kind of bounce off your brain. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go right back over here. I'm sorry, what was your name, brother?
Mark.
Just speaking. Not Mark.
Oh, no. Sorry.
Edwin.
Mark.
Edwin.
Edwin? Sorry, Edwin. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Go ahead, brother. Pass it back to Edwin real quick.
So I'll just give me 1 second, brother. I'll pass it on to you. So you know what, dude? I've been reading a lot about. Here's my thing. I've been a missionary for about 14 years. I've been sharing the gospel. One thing that I don't want to fear people to believe in God, right? And the thing I've been hitting a lot more and more is, you know, the Revelations, the book, the rapture happening. And I believe in the rapture talks about that there's going to be a time, like say if you are in the rapture, I believe that they said that the sun is going to increase in heat. That there's like no way for you to like hide from the sun. So I do believe in stuff like that, but you have to align. If you go with the Bible, you have to align a little bit of the stuff that's going on, if that makes any sense. Which I have my eyes on that as well, that I'm like, man, like where does a lot of these events happen? And does it play in the Bible? Does it play in the alignment of the rapture? But that's where I'm going in that. And that's where I tell people, hey, go do your own research, read the Bible for yourself. Don't just take anybody's word for, you know, the information is being blasted out there. But I do look up in the sky though, man. I don't have my head down. I go outside. I'm in the wilderness, man. I'm in the middle of the desert here in Arizona. So, but anyways, I just wanted to share that though, just to give you a thing about the sun. So.
Well, you know, I think the most important thing is that we keep this discussion going, you know, because it's like what really is, and that's what I keep going back to. I keep going back to how come we don't know the answers to all this? Like how come this isn't just common knowledge? Why are we having to have this discussion? Why are people still not looking up? Like, I mean, how many millions of people going through this whole thing right now still aren't looking up, right? Just like we know people are walking around wearing masks, and I don't want to get into all that other thing, but how many people still aren't looking up? And even if they are, they're just like, whatever. Or you don't even pay attention to it, you know? So,
yeah.
Anyways, I'm going to pass it to, I believe it's Andre. Andre, is that your name?
Yeah.
What's up, brother? He just joined in. Again, Edwin, if you need to jump off, you can. If you want to stay, you're more than welcome to stay. But I'll pass it over to Andre.
Hey, God bless, brothers.
All right,
take care, boys. Nice to see you.
What's up, my man? How you doing? So share your experience with, I guess, chemtrails or whatever you want to call it.
Well, and mine comes from, I think, a perspective that I think a lot of people could relate to is, I'd say about 10 to 15 years ago, I didn't even think of chemtrails, if I'm being brutally honest with you. I thought nothing of it, right? As kids, we see planes go by, don't think anything of it. But then you start seeing these, you know, the fucking clouds are dragging behind these planes. Again, as a kid, you think nothing of it, right? You don't, whatever. And I'll be honest, there's a couple companies that I used to, a couple websites that I used to follow that gave great documentaries, and they're the ones who exposed me to it. And they're like, have you paid attention to what's going on in the sky? And then they started showing like the differences between then and now. And then, and you and I had a brief discussion before this, which was, I was aware of the possibility of this 10, 15 years ago, right?
Yep.
But only now, 5 years, let's say, that you're starting to see more people, and we're talking people who are working for the government, working for the plane industry, talking about what they're putting in there, talking about what the intentions are, like whistleblowers. And you're like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you almost don't want to believe it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, are you fucking kidding me? And then you hear separate stories, right? Then you talk about weather changing and all the rest of that shit. And then you start putting two and two together. The reality is, you start adding more clouds, which is what they're doing, right? You start adding more chemicals, shit's gonna happen. You start fucking with weather, you start fucking with Mother Nature, shit's gonna happen. Like, Mother Nature's got a way of fucking slapping you in the ass and saying, you fucking did wrong. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And it's
absolutely.
like, and the reality is, like, they talk a lot about, like, you know, all these politicians talk, they come out and they say, like, you know, global warming, this, that. Well, the earth has a natural way of regulating itself, just like our bodies do. And if you, as a person, decide, I'm going to mess with this, even if you add one stream, it's a butterfly effect, right? The moment you fuck with one thing, you affect everything.
Yeah.
It's not one thing, it's everything. And it's amazing now that you could look up in the sky and not see a plane in sight, but know very well the exact route it took 10 minutes earlier.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
It's wild. And the thing is, you have whistleblowers coming out and saying, we're putting more stuff in there for this reason and this reason. And it's like, I'm in Northern, for all my followers, your followers, I'm in Northern Ontario, Canada. For the documentaries and shit that I saw, was more down south, right? What they covered. But we see it here, you know? And I'll be honest, for a long time, it's kind of like, oh shit, I've noticed. But it's almost easier to do this all the time, you know?
Yeah, no, for
It
sure.
can't be happening. It's not happening. It wouldn't happen here. And then you're just like, fuck, pieces of the puzzle are starting to come together. And you're like, fuck, man, you know?
It's absolutely crazy, and the one, like, I keep coming back to it too. And again, like you were saying, there's so many different angles, and it's like, what are they actually dropping on us? But like the last 2 years, they've been trying to keep us inside, away from the sun.
Mm.
And you know, this whole COVID thing, you know, vitamin D and just, you know, being active, being outside, being a healthy person, is they've tried everything to stop us from being healthy. And then now that they're letting us outside, I look up, and every chance they get, it seems to be they're blocking the sun. And so, like, why are they, like, I mean, okay, maybe it's global warming, but then I can get into the conversation. We don't have to now, but of, can they do the opposite then, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, can they create heat? Can, you know, what's in these things to create more flammable environments, or like you said, poison us? And so I don't know. I think it's an interesting conversation, because I think, like you said, years ago we were brought up like, oh, those are cool, but those were contrails, not chemtrails, right?
Yeah.
And we, none of us saw those lines like we see nowadays. But now younger people are just growing up, probably getting used to seeing these lines almost like.
Yep.
And so there's like, seems to be this gap where they've been able to get away from almost transferring from contrails to chemtrails, and nobody even noticed what happened. And how long, this is my thing, because I know it's been around for a while, but how long has this been happening, you guys?
Well, like, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mark.
Sure. Well, I mean, if you ever read or get a chance to read The Contagion Myth by Thomas Colvin and Sally Morrell, he obviously goes into the the pandemic, all the pandemics and plagues and so-called viruses and all that. But he goes even into everything as natural as, you know, nature, everything that we're dealing with. So they've been doing all these like experiments, chemtrails or whatever, since the beginning of 1900s, when they first discovered. They started to do that, and as the time went on, they got better. They started doing all these different things. And as far as, like, you know, the global warming, it's something I used to believe for a while, especially like when Al Gore started this whole thing. But I work in the media and in the film production, documentaries, all that stuff. So I've seen things, and I've been a part of like Extinction Rebellion, which is this organization, is also for like environment and all that stuff. Just like BLM, just like the global warming organizations, like they were all in the beginning all had a purpose. a good purpose. And then over time, they got infiltrated, bought out, a lot of money got invested into it. And I've seen it with my own eyes, the changes. So that's when I, you know, like I left Extension Rebellion. And so it's all about money and profit. I mean, it goes on, like with Rockefellers, the Lockstep, all those things. It's all like the Great Reset, Klaus Schwab. It's all a part of that. Like they're messing with the weather, they're messing with everything that's happening, and they try to blame the global warming. And
go ahead, Andre. Yeah.
No, I was just gonna
like
yeah, for sure. Just to add to what he said, like there's for sure going to be people, probably not who are on here. I'm actually seeing a lot of my followers jump on here, which is super cool. It's you're always going to have some people who question, wonder, think it's a conspiracy, and I get it. I totally get it, 100%. I question everything. I teach my kids to question everything. Therefore, anyone on the outside looking at this should question everything, right? So to be fair, that's fair. But you have had governments admit that they do these things to alter weather, right? So it's no longer a conspiracy when a government says we do this. Maybe it's for drought purposes or whatever, right? So for them, they think they're doing good. But a lot of people forget, like to me, I'm a big believer that a butterfly effect is everything. So you have the whole globe. What you do here, if you look at a weather pattern, and it's the same weather pattern that has followed the world entirely, whether it's water pattern, wave pattern, wind pattern, everything, right? The heat, the cold. If you suddenly start fucking with shit over here, it's impossible to think it's not going to fuck with shit over here, right?
Yeah.
So when you have a government that comes out and says, oh yeah, we do this, and you're just like, okay, so not only can you've admitted you're doing it, you admitted why you're doing it, even though it's for good, you might create bad here without even knowing it, right? And then you create a situation which, unfortunately, I think most people at a time like today realize that you will have people in power, not always government, but government or people in power who take advantage of situations. Suddenly you realize, hey, we could probably do something with this. And then they're like, and to think that somebody would not do that is ridiculous.
So on that point, real quick, and I'm gonna pass it over to Mark, who just joined us real quick to give his insight into the conversation.
Yeah, what's up, brother? From New York.
And Mark from New York, baby. But real quick, you know, HARP. I have a 2-minute video I want to play here in a minute. I'm gonna let Mark speak, but it's just 2 minutes. But you're talking, you know, I didn't know this until right now, and so again, that's part of the reason I'm having this is to learn more, you know, and hopefully we can all bring something to the table. We can all learn here what the hell is going on, but. You know, HARP, which is, I believe, you know, is government shit. They have 2 stations, I guess, in Alaska, 1 in Puerto Rico, 1 in Russia, and there's 1 in Europe somewhere. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's in this video. I didn't know that. And so they actually have the ability, what this video says is to control what you're talking about and change and bounce stuff back. And so anyways, I don't know. I just thought that was wild. And I'm going to play that in a minute if anybody here on here wants to hear it and for the people in the comments. But go ahead, Mark. Thanks for coming on, brother. What do you got to share?
Yeah, no problem. I saw your DM kind of recently, and I figured it's almost 10 o'clock here Eastern, so you probably got about 5 minutes left on your live, so I figured I'd hop in. It's interesting that you're talking about this today because Teaching Liberty, I don't know if you follow her, she did a video that I watched earlier in the day, and, you know, you can't think it's a conspiracy theory anymore. It's like clear as day that you have a clear sunny sky and then all of a sudden the planes are flying back and forth and now all of a sudden you got clouds. Like it's just you know, they try to convince people that you're conspiracy theorists and all that other nonsense, and it's like, can't you just see with your own 2 eyes that something's not right here? And you know, it's just mind-boggling. You know, they got people thinking that if you take the shot, you're a Republican and a white supremacist. If you don't take the shot and you're for medical freedom, then you're a Republican and a white supremacist, which makes no logical sense. And there's plenty of Democrats and independents that agree with it. It's like, you know, they're gaslighting people. Like, no, there's nothing wrong here. Like, I know as a politician, you're supposed to stay away from topics like this, but people need to wake up and start asking questions. So I'll try to keep it as short and sweet as possible. But, you know, if you're not seeing it with your own two eyes, I don't know what else, what more do you need? Like,
I don't
And
think
real quick.
I don't think we're in the world anymore of keeping your political opinions to yourself.
Yeah.
I don't think that's happening anymore. Right now it's kind of like,
Remember those days?
oh yeah, that was weird. I own many businesses, and it's always been like, you don't talk about politics, whatever. I even have my CFO of one of my software companies, and he's like, dude, we shouldn't talk about politics. I'm like, fuck that shit. This is where I stand. This is how it is. I'm not even creating bullshit. I'm like, this is just what it is. Like, I'm not like, you can fucking look it up, you know?
The world we live in, for sure.
Yeah.
Real quick, I want to pass it up to Mark on the top real quick. But for everybody who's in here and for Mark from New York, this live is not ending right now. It's just starting. So feel free to jump on if you guys want to join. So anyways, and if you want to follow anybody who's in here, right up here, guys. I don't know. I didn't learn this until recently, but you can click this little button up here, and you can quickly follow anybody who's in here if you want to follow anybody join the live. So Mark up at the top from New York too. Shit, we got 2 Marks from New York right now.
Well, yeah. I mean, I remember when Mark first started, got into politics. Remember at Union Square?
Yep.
And you did that.
Yeah, I was you know, one of those conspiracy theorists that before the shot came out that they're going to make it mandatory, there's going to be a passport, you know, the spoiler alerts. Like, I don't mind, you know, if I believe in something, I don't care if 90% of the people believe one thing, that doesn't mean that they're right. You know, if I'm in the minority and I'm right, I don't care. I'll speak out, like, and I'm right.
That's awesome.
So, you know, that's just the way it is. Like, you know, and people need to start waking up, and I'm not going to be, you know, we need more politicians that aren't afraid to be called names like conspiracy theorists, because what did that do? But, you know, the Republicans are you know, spineless. They wear the masks and you know, legislative sessions for God knows how long. They, you know, they comply. They don't want the media attacking them to try to call them anti-B word or whatever. And it's like, grow a spine. Like, you know, the shot doesn't work. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on here that you need to stand up for. And now to go back onto the topic, you know, the chemtrails and stuff, like, real, you know, what's going on with that? Like, you know, we're seeing it in the sky. It's, you know, people have a right to be concerned. It's not, you don't just call people conspiracy theorists and wave them off.
Well, Mark, I mean, you're from Brooklyn, in Coney Island, so you've seen how many chemtrails are there at the beach.
Yeah, you could be laying on the beach and you can see that going by. Like, it's not, you know,
So what I find interesting is in one of the videos that I was watching again where they interviewed a pilot, the pilot said the counties pay for it, but yet this is happening statewide, countrywide. Andre, you're in Canada. You know, this is happening worldwide. This isn't counties. This isn't counties paying for this. There's something else going on. Whatever they're doing it around the entire world. And what else is happening around the entire world right now? I don't know.
Well, they just use counties and use these places just to cover up, and, you know, so people don't question who's actually doing it, who's in charge.
Yeah. No, one of the things I was going to say is, you know, I kind of said at the beginning of this, like, I question everything. I tell my kids to question everything. You can question things respectfully and professionally, and it's okay, right? When someone tells you, don't ask that question, or I don't want to hear it, or I don't want to talk about it, then it becomes a problem, right?
Or so crazy.
Yeah. So to me, it's mind-boggling. It's truly mind-boggling that we have to have 4 dudes with a bunch of followers where Instagram is trying to slow us down, because I guarantee you, there's a number here. I don't know where I am on your chart, but here it says 37. There's no fucking way it's 37 people watching this. There's hundreds of people watching this right now, right? And they're doing everything to silence this. The reality is, if we were
people
just to
don't
come
get
out
a
and
notification
say
that you're live, like you'll have like people who only the people who interact with you right will get that notification that you're live. I didn't get a notification that this was live. I got it in the DM, you know, and I just checked my DMs that you live at 9 o'clock was well, I mean 6 o'clock Pacific, which is 9 Eastern. So I happened to check it. I saw you was on live. I saw the topic, and I was just thinking about the topic today because Teaching Liberty did the video, you know, showing, you know, the sky and everything. I was like, yeah, it's crazy because I just came back to New York, and you know, I got sick for a few days. As soon as I got back from work, driving across the country, you know, you get that fresh country air, and then you come back to this, you know, polluted nonsense or whatever. I guess, you know, I got spoiled with actual quality air in the rest of the country and come back to, I don't know what it is, but anyway, I was sick for a few days, and, you know, there's a lot of, it's just shady stuff, and people need to stop, you know, belittling people that question things, calling them conspiracy theorists, and start waking up and seeing with their own eyes.
Well, and part of what I wanted to conclude with was the fact that to me it's pretty odd and equally sad, as much as I love this, that we have to be here on Instagram to kind of talk about this, when the reality is it should be as simple as, hey, I have a question, and the government and the airlines coming out and saying, hey, it's not what you think it is, it's this. Or, hey, you know what, it is this for this reason. But there's no attempt to clarify. It's just, you're a conspiracy theorist. Wow. You don't know what you're talking about. You must be a racist. And it's like, dude, you're making yourself look stupid right now. Like, you could actually fix things if you just clarified things. Yeah. But it's gone to the point where it's just like, deny, ignore, and it's just like, you're not making things better. Like, in all reality, if I'm going to be completely fair, maybe there is, I doubt it, maybe there is a legitimate reason as to why they're doing it. But you would think if there is, they would say it, but they're not.
And they would
rather ignore, deny, insult, embarrass, categorize, call you names, and it's like, you're making it realize that you're doing something wrong, and you're waking more people up to question more things. And the more that you deny, ignore, you're making it look worse. So we don't have answers. We don't know what's in there. You and I are not putting it in there, right? We don't know what's in the sky. We think we know what's happening because of the odd leaks, but that's fucked. That's fucked that we have to do this kind of things to expose people to that. Like,
so there's an interesting point there. You say that, but I've come across people when I just look up hashtag chemtrails, and one of the girls I came across was actually here about an hour from where I live in Southern California, and her whole take on the chemtrails was that it's something in there that's not allowing her to breathe, you know, because she had already respiratory issues, and so she was able to relate that to directly not being able to breathe, you know. And so I don't know. I mean, you know, there's something to be said. And so I don't know if any of you guys in here have had those. I think maybe Mark, did you mention that? But or have heard anybody else who's had that happen to them?
I haven't really heard that. I mean, with me getting sick, coming back to New York, and I rarely get sick, but you know, that's just whatever. It was for a few days. It was extremely bad timing before taxes and FEC filings and everything. But yeah, so
and there's also people who do test the air. You can come across people again looking at these same that's the way I find them. I'm sure there's other ways. There's pages that do this too, but there's people who test the air when they do this, and they show that it changes. And apparently you can buy these machines online for like $300. So if you guys want to buy one, I mean, this is out there. Anybody else?
Yeah, I mean, that would be good. I mean, like, yeah, I told you, like last year in 2021, like I started to feel things and noticed like having allergy-like reaction when I had never had allergies, and my kid was having the same issue.
Yeah,
And
I never used to have allergies, and now apparently around this time in April, I tend, the past couple of years, I tend to, get allergies or get sick for a couple of days around this time. That never used to happen to me, but I mean,
and
maybe it's the vid, and I'm just having a weak case of it or something like that. But it's not exactly like I'm going to go get tested.
well, that's the thing. When I would leave, when I would go to Montauk in Long Island, like I would feel completely different. The stuffiness, everything is gone. Like I
Oh
don't.
yeah, yeah. Like I said, I was spoiled with quality air in the rest of the country for, a little over a week, and I'm back here, and I guess that's what it is. Like, so, but yeah, it's horrible that they're doing that to people. I mean, you talk about motive. There's also, one of you guys mentioned art before, and here, the whole climate change is a political weapon, getting people afraid of things. When you have, Texas having snow that shuts down an entire region of the state, like for the first time ever. I mean, I can't help but be suspicious to see whether or not that was intentional from Harp or something. I know it sounds like a conspiracy theory, but that's the first thing that came to mind. Texas is a red state, and a lot of people feel like you could just leave New York or leave, go to Texas, go to Florida, and you're good. But if they have weather as a weapon, you're not really safe in one of those states. And yeah, it's just Harp is
Right.
a
You
crazy.
could only connect enough dots until you're like, there might be something there.
Yeah. So real quick, I'm gonna play this 2-minute video. I can't really show it, I don't think, but I'm gonna play it. If you guys want to stay, you're more than welcome. We can comment on it after you're done. But
I'm good.
if not,
I got to put my little ones to bed. I want to
all
thank
right,
you
brother.
guys for joining. It was a pleasure meeting you.
All right.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks for joining. For everybody else that's in
Tonight.
here, 2-minute video. If you don't want to listen to the video, go get yourself a drink and a snack and come back. Again, if you guys here want to hang on, go ahead. If not, I'm gonna play this video real quick. The title says, "Were you aware we have technology to manipulate weather?" It's titled HARP. It says it's on the History Channel, so I just think it's interesting. So it's 2 minutes. I'm gonna play it real quick.
High Frequency Active Auroral Research Project, originally a joint effort of the Air Force and Navy in cooperation with a number of academic institutions.
HARP is comprised of 180 antennas, approximately 72 feet tall, linked together to function as one giant steerable antenna. Steerable because it can aim millions of watts of ELF waves into one tiny patch of the atmosphere.
The amount of energy we're talking about here is 3.6 million watts, injecting their entire output into a spot that's about 12 miles across by about 2.5 miles deep by about 90 miles up.
This is where HARP is pointing. It's an area located roughly 300 miles from Anchorage. The U.S. military says HARP is merely being used to study the physical and electrical properties and behavior of the ionosphere for both civilian and defense purposes. Another theory has surfaced. The intense energy being beamed into the sky by HARP is actually heating up the atmosphere, causing weather changes.
HARP is being used for weather modification. The military's own record proves it. They've admitted it within their own documents, and yet they still deny it to the public.
HARP is one of several ELF wave transmitters located all over the globe. The United States owns and operates 3 of them. One in Gacona, Alaska, another in Fairbanks, Alaska, and one in Arecibo, Puerto Rico. Russia has one in Vasilursky near Nizhny Novgorod, and the European Union has one near Tromsø in Norway. Working in tandem, these transmitters could potentially alter the weather anywhere in the world, changing the jet stream's course entirely, triggering massive rainstorms or droughts. Even hurricane steering would be possible by heating up the atmosphere and building up high-pressure domes that could deflect or change the course of hurricanes.
All right, that was it. So, I mean, I was like, damn. So, I mean, they're on record. That's nothing you can hide right there. But I didn't know that how, like, it seems to be coordinated, right? And then you look at what's going on all around the world, everybody's doing these everywhere. So, I mean, what is this? Again, like Andre was saying earlier, you think you just be able to ask the question and be like, here's the answer. So I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on that? I don't know if you guys have seen that before, but I'll just pass the buck back to you, Mark, down below. Mark.
Well, we're both down below now.
I know. As soon as I said it, I was gonna say left, but it's like I don't know.
Well,
if that's
you can
right.
say Mark from Brooklyn, Mark from Queens. I'm from Queens.
Mark from BK.
Yeah, so I mean, I've seen different videos on HARP. That's why I referenced it whenever something odd like Texas having a massive snowstorm out of nowhere for the first time in God knows how long. But yeah, it's something that can be weaponized, and you know, people blame things on global warming, and you know, that goes and pushes the political agenda that they have, Green New Deal and things like that. But you know, it's a weapon that could be used for, if you could weaponize the weather, you could do that, you know, during wartime or whatever. So I don't want to speculate what people's motives are, but that's a very dangerous power, and you can't say it's a conspiracy theory. I mean, the videos are out there showing the technology, explaining the technology. It's out there. How do you know that the government isn't using it already or hasn't been using it? Like,
I hear that.
That's a good point. I mean, I remember two things. When I was in Cali in 2014, I was at Venice Beach, and it literally started to hail, like massive hail, for like 5 minutes straight. We all like ran, trying to hide, and then it was gone, like nothing happened. Same thing, Mark, you probably remember when Sandy happened. So I lived in Forest Hills at that time, and that area was declared as ground zero. Like all these oak 200, 300-year-old trees, like everything was gone. It looked like a jungle after the Hurricane Sandy. And I mean, I took photos, filmed everything. It was insane to see that. I'm like, because we have never seen or experienced anything like that, especially in Queens.
Yeah, I think that's kind of something now too, that you know that they can manipulate the weather. You start going back and you start thinking of all these different events, like you were saying, Venice Beach, California, hails. I mean, like what the hell's going on?
Yeah,
you know. And then like earlier, Edwin was on talking about the crazy weather in the middle of the desert, and then you have Dubai creating rainstorms. You know, so anyway, we got a new guy in here. Your name's Steve, right?
Yes, sir.
Steve, you had the question in here that we didn't get to yet, so I'll let you go ahead and just basically speak on your own question, or maybe it's more of a statement, but it says it may not be so much the sun blocking as more as like sun filtering, depriving vitamin D. And so I agree with you. I think because I see the cloud seeding happening when there's weather, but I mean when there's clouds, but I also see it when there's not. So I happen to agree. Go ahead, give your thoughts on that and whatever else you want to add your thoughts to.
I'll add on to the tail of that. It was like 6 or 7 years ago in Colorado, Longmont, Colorado, just out of the foothills. There was like a 4 or 5 foot blizzard, and I mean, we typically don't get that much. And it wasn't the typical snow; it was super damp, wet, and heavy. And I think that was around the same time as a bunch of the other weird things going on. But I also kind of read about vitamin D playing a role on ferritin receptors in your DNA. Which also kind of ties in with the vaccine, but I don't know enough about that to talk on it. But the you know, if those fogs that you're talking about kind of blocking the sun, like there's no way we can block the sun out, but we can definitely filter out certain spectrums, and a lot of the spectrums are going to be important not just for humans but for plants. There's a lot of different light wavelengths that will do different things in your body and in plant life, that give you different nutrients. For humans, obviously, vitamin D. And so I was thinking when you were commenting about that, is like, you know, maybe it is filtration and mass filtration on like a country scale.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. When I say block, I mean I didn't mean it like literally, but I mean you're right. That's exactly what I meant, is filtering it or you know, putting something in front of it to basically, that's what I'm getting at is, you know, limit your vitamin D intake. Basically, there's a nefarious reason, I think, for them trying to mask, maybe is a better word, the sun. So I don't know why, but there's many reasons and many things that can do to us. I don't know really any of those things that, you know, that can happen to us when you don't have vitamin D, but feel free to add to that whatever you guys want. Anybody want to chime in?
Yeah, I mean,
sorry, go ahead.
That's one of the things when you get sick, whether it's with COVID or whatever, they tell you to stay indoors and all that stuff, and it's like, okay, you need sunlight. You know, it's a natural thing that you need to, you know, for psychological, for physical health, you know, the vitamin D that you get from the sun. And just, you know, if you're blocking that out and it's a cloudy day, you know, you're going to be depressed, you're going to be less motivated, you're going to be, you know, that's, I mean, if you go to places like, you know, that have very little sunlight for extended periods of time or whatever the case may be, those people tend to be the ones that are the most depressed. I just parked the car, so it's locking automatically and turning off the light there. But yeah, so blocking out the sun, you know, that's, you know, if that's the only thing that they're doing, that's bad enough as it is. So
yeah,
I agree.
Sorry, go ahead.
I am going to head out because I did find a parking spot. I pulled over initially to talk, and then I stayed on, but I'm going to go head out, give someone else a chance to hop in. Great talking to you guys. If you want to follow me, I might be, you know, I ran for office the last 2 years in South Brooklyn. I tried to take on Chuck Schumer this year. Did not qualify for the Republican primary, but I'll probably be running for something else soon. You could follow me to stay tuned on that. Keeping up with the fight, because it's a now or never mentality. I don't want to run for office. It's not for attention or anything like that. It's just the most effective, peaceful way to fight back. So,
Right on, brother.
Good to see you guys
We
again,
appreciate
Mark.
you,
I didn't realize I wasn't following you back already. I don't know if you still follow me, but
yeah, you're good. We had like 2 accounts before.
No, yeah, I've had the same account. Maybe your account got deleted or something. I've had the same account for 2 years now, but since I started the campaign. But anyway, good talking to you guys. Keep fighting the good fight, and I'll speak to you guys again soon.
All right, Mark. Take care, brother. Stay brave, man.
Good night.
Good night.
All right, so Steve or Mark, go ahead. Feel free to jump in, add whatever else you guys want, or whatever angle you want to add.
Steve had a good point. Like, obviously, with the whole block infiltration, it's the same thing. Like with the whole misinformation with the UV and then the sunscreen. The sunscreen actually, they made you believe that it blocks, you know, so you don't get sick, you don't get cancer. It actually blocks the good stuff when you put it on. And so vitamin D is technically a hormone that we all produce naturally and also get it from the sun. So, I mean, if they're able to do that by you putting on a sunscreen, I mean, and with the technology that they have, like, who knows what the hell they put spraying, you know, in the sky.
Amen to that. I wish we had, if anybody in the comments can tag Dr. Assad, if you know who Dr. Assad is, or if you're following him, I would like to get his insight, because he has a lot of, you know, he's big on the sun, and he has a lot of insight on this as well. And he also has insight into what he believes being dropped into our skin. That's, you know, maybe working with other things up in the sky. So if you guys know Dr. Assad, just tag him. And go ahead, Steve, anything to add there?
I don't have really too much information that I know of to talk about on that anymore. Although I will say, HARP, I sent you a DM with another video regarding HARP that I want to say is like almost a decade old, where, yeah, they're saying we can control weather. And obviously with technology, and that 12 miles that he was talking about and 95 miles up in the air, obviously technology advances. And so that's not the limit anymore, and they can probably fine tune it. But I kind of want to go on a side tangent here with that pin right there. And a week or two ago, I started looking into Bill Gates, and there are larger farmland owners, but they're all corporations and companies, like McDonald's potatoes and all that. He's got 270,000 acres as a private owner, And I mean, that's it's crops and livestock, and I don't know that much about farm life and everything else, but I know it's a lot more than that. Jobs. So
The train station in Canada, everything, like he owns everything that goes in and out at this point.
So I'm going to throw this curveball in there because yesterday Elon Musk launched a satellite for the United States government, a spy satellite. My question is, has anybody ever thought about a correlation between when they put the lines in the sky and satellite launches? Are they doing anything to transmit, emit? Again, I want Dr. Assad to come on here and give his insight because he got, a whole different thought on this stuff. But I'm just throwing that. It's total conspiracy. I'm not saying it has any correlation whatsoever, but hey, I just wait a minute. He just launched a satellite yesterday. Now they're launching lines in the sky all around the world. This is something, again, you put stuff into space, it affects everybody. So, and this is another debate, or not a debate, I'm a discussion I want to have another day to learn more about too, is 5G.
I was gonna say.
And what role is that playing, maybe even in conjunction with these chemtrails, and there's some people that believe that what's going on around the world the last couple of years is maybe radiation or something from the sky. So I don't want to necessarily change the subject per se right now, but I was just like, wow, I wonder if there's a correlation between satellite launches and what they're putting in the sky, because both go up in the sky.
Well, it was their goal with 5G. He talked about it a while back where he wanted to put up millions of these satellites which would transmit 5G, so you would be connected everywhere, anywhere. He had that conversation. Bill Gates had that conversation. People were questioning for a while, everyone who was getting sick in the beginning with so-called, COVID. I don't want you to get flagged for that. But,
you can say whatever you want, bro. I'm not worried about that.
Okay. Yeah, COVID, and people were questioning, no, it's a conspiracy theory. How can they get sick? And if you go deep enough and research, you would find 5G, massive towers in those areas, in Mexico, everywhere, that you wouldn't think.
Cancer rates with those too, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying, with those big towers, cancer rates are always higher too.
Yeah.
Just wanted to add that in there.
I mean, I started to feel things when they started to finally roll it out. It was, I think, last year or 2020, Union Square, areas that you would see them on the rooftops, on the lampposts. They started to install those boxes. And then literally one day I was walking and I felt this weird freaking sensation. My eyes started to burn and my skin started to burn. And I couldn't, I didn't know what the fuck was going on. And I looked around and I see these massive towers. And then I started to hear more from my friends in other areas, other states who were experiencing the same stuff. And, started research more and more. And that's one of the things, again, Dr. Thomas Cohen in The Contagion Myth, he talks about all of that. The whole technology of it, the whole origin of all that stuff, how it affects us, the sun, the cycle, the meteor storm and all that stuff. It actually disrupts everything energetically. How it can actually affect us, our immunity, when sometimes we can all kind of get sick at the same time. Just the immune response, and our body going through a detox.
Jason, if you want to join the live and give your input and your theory or what he was saying here that chemtrails plus HARP was supposed to kill us, and they found it faster to use the vax in 5G. So I would like to hear his input on that. But also, I mean, they're continuing to use chemtrails and HARP, right?
Yep.
So that's an interesting take. Go ahead, guys.
As he's joining in, I actually know a little bit about both of those subjects, and I think the HARP and the chemtrails are tied together, but separate from 5G. Now 5G, I'm trying to remember if it was millihertz or another one, but whatever term it is, 1G did less, 2G did a little more, 3G, and so on and so forth.
Oh yeah,
And
I've seen the documentary.
And once you get to a certain wavelength of those electrical wavelengths, it will start to affect water. And what are humans made of?
Water.
What's the like 82%, 86%? I don't know. I'm not a doctor,
Yeah,
but a huge
70,
amount.
80%.
And the absolute perfect example of electrical wavelengths, which is it's a little bit different because of it's an alternating current, but there's like a little fun kids science video on YouTube you can watch where he energizes something next to a stream of water and it bends the water around, makes it go all sorts of wavy, like snaking up or just curving. And yeah, 5G, I strongly do believe is doing something on our,
Well,
to our blood cells
yeah,
with
for
the
like
water.
All right.
18
And
math.
go ahead. Let's toss it over real quick to Jason,
Yeah.
who just joined us. Jason,
Hey, how are
Yeah,
you guys?
I'll go ahead and step out too.
Good, man.
Yeah,
Join
I
in.
mean,
How's it
I'm
going?
sorry I joined late, but yeah, I've been agreeing with like everything you guys are saying. I joined when you guys were talking about satellites. I know they say they keep launching these things. I don't believe in them. You know, I've seen plenty of these satellites. They're attached to balloons, and eventually they're going to fall down. Once I think, like, if you believe that there's a firmament and you look into Operation Fishbowl and they've been trying to break the firmament like idiots, I don't know why you would try to break that thing, but really it's the technology of being able to learn how to bounce signals off of it and read signals off of it. So those are like the satellites. I think what they're launching is really towers, and that's what's really bothersome about this 5G is they have to put so many towers. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this book, but The Invisible Rainbow. This will mess your day up because it's basically about how the rollout of everything in the air, any technology that's affected the air, whether it's AM radio, FM radio, 1G, 2G, 3G, X-rays, whatever, people get sick and people die. Now, I don't know if you guys have been linking this stuff to like COVID and all that crap, but you know, losing your sense of taste and smell is also a clear sign of radiation poisoning. Oxygen attenuates at, I think it's 56 megahertz or 64. It's one of those two numbers, which means it makes the molecule vibrate really fast so it can't adhere to the heme groups in your red blood cells, thus the shortness of breath. So, you know, HARP and chemtrails were taking too long for people. Because people were living too long, according to these globalist crazy motherfuckers. So they found out that they could speed up the process by injecting you with nanoparticle garbage crap. And then once they activate this 5G, it's going to move wherever they want it to. And people are just going to, you know, twitch. I mean, it's really scary what they can do. And they're also finding that there's nanodust in the chemtrails. I have this bucket that's wrapped in 200 feet of copper wire, right? I hook it up to a 12-volt battery. I dump distilled water and organic white wine vinegar in it, a little Epsom salt, a little few drops of olive oil. After 45 minutes, at the bottom of the bucket, you're going to see little black specks. And at the top, you get this shimmer that looks like, and that's all like the metals coming out of you. And that black crap is the nano dust. I eat mostly vegan. Like I'm pretty clean with my diet because I know you can get that stuff from eating, you know, meats and all kinds of, who knows what they're putting in the food. But we're getting sprayed all the time like bugs. And that's why I believe, like, remember back in the days of, I'll be 44. So when they were talking about like greenhouse gases are terrible for the environment, I think that was all a sham. I think they just don't want you covering your vegetables because then they can't spray them.
Yeah.
You know, all this climate change crap where they're trying to make carbon the enemy. Bro, we're a carbon-based life form. If they're so worried, don't cut down trees then. Trees literally breathe in carbon dioxide that they're trying to tell you is bad for you. It's hilarious.
It's true. It's true. I mean, like you mentioned. Yeah.
Go ahead, Mark.
No, like you mentioned, the 5G, how it correlates with, it affects your hemoglobin, your oxygen levels, everything drops, like it pretty much fries you. And that's the difference between the 4G and the 5G. 4G can travel like a lot further as far as distance. 5G requires towers or like small satellite small antennas like every block almost in order to pass that signal.
Yep.
Hey, what do the Spanish flu, the Asian flu, and the Hong Kong flu and COVID-19 all have in common? Major technological advances up there. And so you were mentioning that earlier, Jason. You mentioned the radiation, you know, and it's like, I always ask people with respects to COVID, I say, how do you know you had COVID? And they go, well, and most people say, I lost my taste and I lost my smell. And I say, oh, okay. Well, because at the beginning of the pandemic, it was all about people couldn't breathe. And I don't know anybody that went to the hospital because they lost their taste and smell. But it's kind of ironic that that's the symptom that everybody correlates to COVID-19. And we got 5G we're talking about, but Elon Musk got a contract from the government to put up 30,000 plus satellites. I know you're saying that there's whatever they are, okay? And up until that point, there had only been like 1,500 put up total in the Earth's history. So, you know, I don't want to get into the debate of satellites are real or not, but radiation, though, causes loss of taste and smell, ironically.
Yeah, and that's why I think like this whole thing that just came out with, you know, snake venom. Snake venom. Oh my
God.
I do believe that, yes, there's probably snake venom in the remdesivir, in the needle, sure. But like for it to be poisoned in the water supply, I would venture to think that we would see way more people sick and we would see way more people dying at home. Nobody's died of COVID at home. They only die when they go to the hospital. So, yeah, and like with the big thing with the lockdown that was huge is once they locked down, that's when they started putting 5G, especially here in California, at schools and hospitals. Like the nerve to start it, a new technology in the air at children's schools and hospitals. Gross.
And check this out, Jason, check this out. It's crazy because for the last 2 years, basically since COVID, I cannot remember this ever happening. This is basically what I'm going to talk about is when I leave my home, my internet on my phone goes out. I can't get on my map. I can't do anything, right? And it seems to be, this is weird. And maybe it's a total just coincidence, okay? But hear me out here. It's about a 1 mile ring around. I live right by a elementary, a middle school, and a high school. Boom, boom, boom. And right after lockdown happened, there was police there with vans outside of these schools. Just there was no students, no teachers. Police there with a van out there. And I don't know what the hell that was going on, right? I just remember that because what you just said, I heard that very early on as well. They were going to be putting it in hospitals and schools, right? So I was like, that's weird. There's police there. There's nobody else there. Maybe they're just watching the school because it's empty, right? But then I come back in time. And now you can ask a handful of people on here who follow me. I go live on the way home from work sometimes, right? It's just my time to kind of like catch up on what happened today and just vent. So, but there's a certain place I get to every time. I've tried going around it. It's a 1 mile radius around these schools where my phone doesn't work. I don't know what that is. You'd think it would work better. And I don't know if that's just a weird thing, but it happened when lockdown happened. And it's still happened to this day. It has not gone away. I don't know what it is. Anyways, little side thing, but.
I mean, it's been their thing. They try to use 5G as though it's going to improve and make things fast. But it's done for other reasons. They're using for other reasons to control things, to pretty much control us, to manipulate everything. I mean, the whole origin of 5G, and I know you read like the Rainbow, the book, and like the whole 5G originated in military to crowd disperse, like the heat and everything from it. And then, I mean, there are things that I've seen too, and I can't find the video. I saved it somewhere, I downloaded it, and I can't freaking find it. It was Bill Gates at the military base. It was a very crappy video, but it was him talking to the military, the soldiers in this classroom, telling them about this new technology in correlation with 5G, and this technology they developed where they can pretty much upload and control your subconscious. They can literally, like, because of the frequency or whatever he was talking about, they can pretty much dump anything into your mind, and you think it's your memory. You think it's everything you're feeling, or your feelings and your thoughts. And he was literally saying those things to the military, to the soldiers, and I'm like, I don't know. It was just insane to see that and to hear that.
Yeah, they're doing everything they can to cut off your connection with your pineal gland and calcify everything, so that you can't think right. I mean, the fluoride in the water that we know about is so blatant. It's just like insane. The fact that I don't know who can do it. Like, I know a lot of people took oaths to this country to defend it from enemies foreign and domestic.
Mm-hmm.
The blatant spraying since COVID, the chemtrail spraying has been so disgusting and just obvious. Like, even if you don't believe, if you believe
Wait,
it's
real quick, Jason.
Yeah.
Jason, real quick, on that point, how long have you been paying attention to chemtrails? Because you're saying it's been crazy since COVID. I just started looking up 2 months ago. So that I'm going, I can't believe this, because this whole thing could have been from that. So did you just get onto this like when COVID started, or were you paying attention and then you noticed it picking up when COVID started?
No, I've noticed them a number of years before COVID, but when COVID, right before it, and then when it was hitting, that's when I just noticed it was like, holy crap, they're covering the whole sky. They didn't stop. There was one time I made a video, it's on my page somewhere. I live in West Hollywood. It's about 9 miles to the beach. I had gone down to Venice that morning at 9 a.m. when they started. I came back at 4 p.m. By the time I got back by the Beverly Center, the entire sky was covered, blanketed, and they weren't stopping. I counted like 36 more lines going. It's unreal. They want people sick, because if they can get, especially the people that have taken the jab, if they can get them more sick, then they can start imposing more laws on the unvaccinated, because they're just blaming everything on us. So the faster those people start getting sick, which they will, we'll see a little leniency until midterms. They'll blatantly steal everything here in California. Maybe some red seats will happen in the Midwest or wherever. Not that it matters. I mean, I don't think it totally matters, but California is just a highly corrupt place, and I don't know how to stop these. I don't even know if they're all planes now. They're telling us they're drones too, dropping this shit.
Yeah,
I believe it. I mean, I've seen the cloud seeding planes. I've seen those, and they're just for that. I've heard that they actually do this shit on like commercial airliners, and that the pilots don't even know that it's on the plane.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it seems to be coming from every single direction. But again, and I'm pass it over to you, Steve, in a minute. This isn't just happening in California. No. Arizona tonight, New York, Canada, Australia, Spain. It's everywhere. And you're saying, and I think a lot of people would agree with you, Jason, that there has been an uptick in the spraying since COVID. And then I go, okay, wait a minute. There's an uptick in spraying since COVID. It's happening around the world, and all of this has been happening in the same time frame as COVID-19. So anyways, go ahead. Steve, anything to add on that?
Just want to mention one thing. Like, I've been using filters for a while, like on my, sink water, shower, everything for a while. And one day I decided to take the filter out, have the water run in the bathtub. And it was insane. Like, because in Queens, I researched, we have like 16 different chemicals in the water, including fluoride and all other stuff. The minute I took that filter out and I filled up the bathtub and I came in, the steam, the fumes from it, I almost suffocated. I couldn't breathe. I started like cough from that. And
okay, you just brought something up in my head. They come and they spray the skies, right, before a storm, and everything they spray, it dissipates, but are they also bringing that down in a steam or in a vapor or in some sort of other way, right, that is maybe making things better for us?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
No, I mean,
well, it's all weather manipulation. We know they can manipulate the weather. Climate change is weather manipulation. Any sort of crisis they're talking about, like Well, depending on what you believe, I believe there's an ice wall surrounding everything. There's no caps. Nothing's melting. The sea levels aren't rising. These globalist assholes are all buying beachfront properties. They wouldn't be doing that if they thought the frickin' sea level was going to rise and wash them over. That's just insane. But we know they can manipulate the weather. Do you guys remember? It was barely on the news, but we lost like 300 million acres of farmland in Iowa in a rare land hurricane or a rare earth tornado that just wiped out, like, it's something like, I don't remember, 9% of America's food is in Iowa. Some crazy, there's a few things like pigs, soy, and like, I mean, it's something crazy, but that just went under the radar. Now they're having people like murder their chickens because of bird flu. I mean, they're trying to start a food shortage, and they're going to use the climate and manipulate the climate in order to do it.
Well, if you follow the Ice Age farmer, he talked about that. Like they're pretty much towards like around the summer into the fall, we might not have any eggs or chicken, or it's gonna be so expensive.
Yeah, now's the time. Right? Like if you're thinking about going vegan or trying to, now's the time to start getting yourself into that frame of mind, because I wouldn't, unless you know the farm where you're getting the meat from, I wouldn't touch it.
Yeah, Jason, I was plant-based for over 15 years. I just last year went back to eating meat because I've noticed a lot of changes. I eat everything organic and pasteurized, you know, like organs, honey, like pretty much everything's like fresh and as natural as possible. And you notice the difference.
Oh, yeah. Do you guys take shilajit? Do you know what that is?
Yeah, well, I love that stuff.
Yeah, it looks like a black tar. It kind of looks like, what's that stuff that you smoke that's really strong? Hash. It kind of looks like that, but it's literally minerals they scrape off the side of the mountains in the Himalayas. And it's got like it's got like 80 essential minerals in it and stuff. And you take like a little pea size. It tastes like dirt, but it's so good for your body. It gets your organs working like optimally. I mean, everybody on here's got really good skin, so I don't know what you guys are all doing, but whoever's listening,
CMOS has 92 different minerals. So
I got Shilajit and TRS, and then I recently stopped eating like all fast foods and like processed GMO shit.
Wait, what's TRS?
It's like a metal cleanse for your body.
Oh, cool.
One of the things is, I'm not a doctor, but people that I know that know a lot say, you know, our iron intake from all the foods that we're given is way too high for our body. That's one of the things I wanted to mention about your bath water is the black specks that you might be seeing is iron getting pulled out of the water, amongst other things too. I'm not 100% sure. And then as far as that freak magma or whatever it was out in Iowa, one of the things that I read about HARP is when they use it in the ionosphere, it also affects the tectonic plates in the earth. I'm not sure how, but I did read that when I was reading about HARP. And another thing about HARP that I read is that they use lasers from satellites to help energize those particles, which again, I don't want to get, I don't know one way or the other. As far as satellites goes, but I see them, and maybe
Dr. Assad. Hey, Dr. Assad, he just jumped in here. I want to bring him on. So, Dr. Assad, if you can jump on, let me know, bro. Hit the invite button. We're talking about chemtrails. We Jason in here, he was talking about 5G, and really we want to talk about how this. Well, I want your perspective also on how this ties into the vaccine and the satellites and whatever. Dr. Assad, if you're available, let me know. But go ahead. Sorry to interrupt you.
Have you guys ever looked into Tartaria and free energy when it existed on this planet?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I think a lot of this, all these things that we're putting in the air as far as technology, it's affecting the entire magnetic field of the Earth. I mean, the Earth is alive, and there's fields that we can harness.
Yeah.
Like we have the ability to have free energy, and history has been completely rewritten and washed out. Like World War I and the World's Fairs and everything were literally just an attack on free energy cities and wiping things out. Like the mud floods, a lot of the cities in America were already built before colonists.
Who write the histories?
Yeah. Well,
who writes all the histories, right?
Steve made a good point, like about how it disrupts not the core, but like in the earth. So if you guys do earthing, barefoot kind of thing, so we made of a lot of positive charge. So when you do barefoot thing, you get that negative charge to balance it out. If they disrupt that within the earth, we're completely screwed from every angle.
Yeah, once you crank up that 5G, from what I've read, because it's not even like cranked up yet, it's gonna make this blanket. And it's going to divide stuff. Bees are going to get all messed up. Oxygen isn't going to be able to like, whatever, let's say it cuts our atmosphere in half. We're not going to be able to access anything above it. And everything below is going to be trapped. So heat's going to get trapped. It's going to screw up the world. I mean, isn't that kind of what's happening? Like the ancient civilizations like Atlantis and things like that, they got this technology that they didn't know how to use, and they overused it, and they ran rampant with it without it, and it caused the destruction of the entire civilization. And we're headed towards that with some
research everywhere.
But that's a good point with the Atlantis. Like if you follow again Jason Shurka, he did this disclosure interviews with this guy Ray. He talks about the fact what happened back with ancient Atlantis is they were way over their head. They developed this technology way beyond what we have now. And because they were lacking spiritually, they didn't get to that level. It pretty much overpowered and it destroyed them or something like that, from what I've been reading too.
Yeah, I think spiritually we're getting there. There's a lot more people aware, and they're waking up, and they're kind of understanding the the power of positivity. New day for all you wrestling fans. And like what I try to tell people out there is like, let's hypothetically say there's 10,000 truly evil people in the world, like that are running all the strings. Let's just say there's 10,000. I think that's more. I think that's way overshooting. But if there's 10,000 of them, that means there's 600,000 minutes of evil a day being really at the controls. It's so easy to get 600,000 people to pray for love collectively as a unit and shoot it into this film of fear that's trying to manipulate everything. And if we could all get together and seriously concentrate on love and putting it out there and physically see us shooting love through our body, you get your breath right and you shoot it through yourself and you shoot it into the air and you poke holes into this fear monster, we could beat this back so much faster, in my opinion.
I agree. Yeah. Hey, if you guys, I don't see Dr. Assad in here anymore. If you guys want to tag him, that's fine. But if you are in here, Dr. Assad, just send the invite. You can still send the invite even if it's full. Just FYI.
Yeah, I was gonna bounce like if you couldn't join because it said 4 people. If there's 4 people,
he didn't send the request, so we're all good. We're all good.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead, Mark. Anything?
I mean, there's always a lot. You kind of like try to like put all your thoughts together and cover.
Yeah, I guess my whole thing, the reason why I started this whole live tonight was because they're on record. We know about HARP, weather manipulation. We know about cloud seeding. My question was, what are they doing when it's perfectly sunny and the skies are clear? There's no clouds to seed. And so that really is, and then what are they spraying? Because you can see it dissipate, right? And what are they doing? For me, it always seems to be in front of the sun. Again, blocking the sun is kind of a bad, and you got to use the right words. That's not masking it, I guess, or maybe even magnifying something, again, that's in our body or that's being put in our body. I don't know. But so I don't know. That's my whole thing is I'm looking up wondering what are they doing when the skies are clear?
Planning.
It's true.
Or sucking on baby blood, or murdering something, or raping something, or doing something truly freaking mind-blowingly disgusting. Gentlemen, I have to run. I have a text that I have to go.
Yep.
But great meeting you.
Yep.
I'm going to follow you immediately. You guys are amazing.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks,
I gotta
Jason.
follow you.
And actually, I'm gonna go ahead and end the live too, Mark. So we'll just go ahead and use that as our segue.
Gotcha.
Off of this one, y'all. So hey, Mark, man, thanks for joining. I appreciate you giving your input. I'm gonna give you the last words though before we head out. But just again, thanks for joining. For everybody in here, thanks for joining the live. This was impromptu. Normally I've been having an interview every Monday. That's kind of the thing for this account. Again, thank you for joining, Mark. Thanks to all the guests who joined tonight. I thought it was a pretty cool live for being a last minute thing. We'll continue this conversation down the road. And I also do want to get more in depth on 5G and kind of that whole dynamic as well. So again, Mark, thanks for coming on. Give you the last words before we head out.
No, thank you for having me, brother. I mean, it was awesome. I was like, let me jump on it. Let me, because I mean,
no,
it was great. It was great.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. You brought a lot to the table tonight. And again, you know, that's what this is all about, you guys, is just trying to share information with each other. But like everybody probably said here at one point or another tonight, do your own research, you guys. That's how you're going to be able to learn yourself. We can bring you guys information, but you guys got to really go dig into it deeper. I'm real big on PCR. You guys that follow me know that. But there's so many other things that are important to this world right now. And I mean, shit, if they're spraying something on us that is doing something nefarious to us or in any way is having an impact on us, I think at the minimum, we deserve to know what that is and why they're doing it. So, but anyways, Mark, thanks for joining us. You guys stay tuned to this page. Give me a follow. If you want to follow this page, you want to follow Mark, hit the thing up there before we close the live out. But again, just stay tuned to this page for all the upcoming guests. And the schedule for the show's Most Hated Monday. So again, thanks y'all for joining. Appreciate you guys. And remember, you guys, we got to do it. We got to stay brave, y'all. Have a good night.